So now I'm going to be talking about performance orientation, more specific performance goals. This signifies a learner's or student's general desire to do well on a task or in a class, to receive recognition from anyone. It could be other students or peers or even by a teacher, and outplace others to avoid shame or embarrassment. This also directs the student's attention to grades and achievement and encourages them to compare themselves with others. Students often are motivated by competition as well.
All right, and I'm going to be talking more about performance goal orientation. It's basically saying that grades are bad because they force students and teachers to become performance goal oriented. It means that a person or a group of people only care about what will be viewed by others. In other words, they care more about perception than the reality. They care more about looking well educated than being well educated. They would rather get an A than a C because society tells them that if they get a C, they are not smart. In this case, getting good grades is the goal, and the grade will also reflect the student or teacher's performance. Examples would be dance recitals, basketball games, credit scores, or even grade point averages. Just one dance recital or number won't reflect on what kind of person you are. Just one performance won't really tell you about the person overall. Grades mainly force teachers to solve the information down their students' throats. They force students to memorize the information for the test instead of learning it itself.
So master orientation focuses on the individual's improvement and recognizing and rewarding effort and evaluating the students privately. So for example, it could be like if a teacher pulls a student to the side and says, like, you've been doing really good this semester, keep it up, and there could be a reward for you by the end of the semester. Different environments in which teachers work, characterized by levels, policies, routines, type of leadership, distinct levels of expectations, and the broader accountability content greatly shape how they use data with the students. This also allows teachers to focus on the students' mastery, involve students in analysis, goal setting, and follow-up. For instance, students have an increased opportunity to graph their own results and identify topics, which follows their reflection.
Okay, now that you understand what mastery performance orientation is, I'm going to break it down even further in terms of goals. There are two types of goals: approach and avoidance goals. Think of it in terms of the negative and positive punishment and reinforcement that we learned a couple weeks ago. Approach is when you're gaining something, whereas avoidance is you're trying to stay away from something. So in terms of mastery approach, students are interested in mastering the academic task, or they're trying to gain that knowledge. Whereas mastery avoidance is when students are avoiding misunderstanding the task. In regarding performance orientation, remember performance orientation is regarding the student's ability to do something, their competency. So performance approach is when students are interested in demonstrating that they're more competent than others. Whereas performance avoidance is when they're trying to avoid looking incompetent, or in other words, dumb.
Now we're going to talk about comparing and contrasting the performance-oriented and the mastery-oriented. Both concepts are important to use while structuring the classroom. You can promote a performance-oriented classroom when teachers make most decisions for the students, they reward achievements relative to others, use rewards to control behavior, provide repetitive or boring tasks, divert attention from tasks and learning to achievement, and compare selves to others. Teachers can promote a mastery-oriented classroom when they're focusing on individual improvement, recognize and reward effort, evaluate students privately, involve students in decision-making, foster students' sense of responsibility and interdependence, provide interesting learning activities, encourage students to set short-term self-reference goals, and they don't compare themselves to others. One tactic teachers may like to use is allowing students to analyze their overall scores in order to motivate them to set more goals for themselves, like keep up the good work or I need to study more next time. A performance task would be posting graphs of individual scores for the entire class to see, comparing honor students' grades to non-honor students, saying they were this close to becoming an honor student, or not providing guidance on how to improve those scores that the entire class is able to see, like how to study or how to revisit the content later. The mastery tactics would be sharing individual level data privately with students, focus attention on how they were performing, examining and reflecting on the data that will help students identify weaknesses, what contributes to them, and how to address the gaps, and sometimes use rewards like praise and discussion of positive results to emphasize message about progress. Involve students and analyze goal setting and follow-up, allowing students to graph their own results and identify topics on which to focus their reflection.